Ce 18 novembre 2014, deuxième jour de la conférence à Arkansas, est dédié à une visite sur les sites. Il s'agit de comprendre la réussite de l'agriculture de Arkansas. Pour cela, nous irons à l'université où il est dédié une conférence à l'honneur de la délégation ivoirienne. Ce matin, l'ambiance conviviale et bon enfant. On échange les salutations et les accolades. La température est de moins 20 degrés. Un peu de café pourrait réchauffer et donner un peu d'énergie. Après près d'une heure de parcours, nous arrivons à l'université de Arkansas, où la délégation ivoirienne, avec à sa tête M. le ministre Jean Louis Billon, est reçue par la modératrice de la conférence.
Et je travaillais à l'étranger avec USAID pendant 30 ans. Your package, there's an agenda, and we're going to try to follow our agenda as closely as possible. I think we're pretty much on time, so we're not running too late. The head of the delegation, le ministre, merci. Oui, l'ambassadeur, bienvenue, merci. We have the director general. May have said that wrong. I have to look at my notes again. We also have our economic advisor out of New York from Côte d'Ivoire. And we have the Director General du Bureau de Économique de la Côte d'Ivoire, or is that the same person? That's you. I should have done a better job with my notes here.
Karl Martin, au nom de son conseiller Alexander, s'est réjoui de la présence et de la qualité des invités, de leur engagement à travailler avec eux pour un but commun.
So we appreciate you for being here with us today, your presence and your commitment to new ventures. We appreciate that and we are excited about it. We are also excited about the many opportunities of collaboration that await our minds working together to achieve a common goal. So thank you very much for your presence. I know that you will enjoy your time on this campus, and we look forward to our many opportunities of partnership that await us in the very near future. Thank you and enjoy your time on our campus.
M. Garner a expliqué à la délégation ivoirienne que l'agriculture est l'essentiel de leur programme. Pour soutenir ses arguments, il a fait l'historique de leur université en s'appuyant sur l'acte de concession des terres en 1862-1890 qui a donné beaucoup de droits aux Noirs de posséder des terres.
But again, I would like to welcome you to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and the School of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Human Sciences. And you're going to be looking at two of our programs today, part of our agriculture program and the aquaculture fisheries program. And we are happy to work with you with this endeavor. But I'll give you a little bit of history of the university. We are a land-grant university. The first Land-Grant Act was passed in 1862, which opened up these types of universities that were supposed to serve the lower class or those that were struggling with land ownership and agricultural production. But in 1862, as you know, in the southern states, many black Americans were not allowed to go to those universities. So in 1890, a second Land Grant Act was passed, which established the land grant portion of this university and 18 other universities within the United States. The one thing about the land grant universities is we had that three missions. One was teaching, second was research, and the third mission was extension. And that's what makes the land grant universities outstanding for as we're concerned in the United States, because we have pushed the agriculture industry forward in the United States.
La très ravissante Miss Thomas, la directrice commerciale de World Trade Center, a félicité l'équipe du bureau économique d'avoir mis en œuvre pour réussir cette organisation.
Bonjour. Bonjour. I've been practicing all day. Thank you all for coming. You all know me. To the new faces in the room, I'm Denise with the World Trade Center, and myself and Mamadou Kone pulled this together. So we want to say thank you really to the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff for their generosity and explosive response to getting this on such short notice and making it wonderful for you all. So thank you to everybody for making this happen, especially today. I understand there's quite a few delegations and other guests, so from my heart to yours, I do greatly appreciate it, and I know the people from Cote d'Ivoire do as well. So I'm going to ask them to stand and give you a little bit of applause and appreciation now before we get going, and then I'm going to be quiet. So if you guys could just show them the love you showed me yesterday, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Apprendre de nouvelles techniques de développement agricole pour parvenir aux besoins des milliards d'habitants en Afrique en ce millénaire sont en deux mots le message du ministre Jean Louis Billon.
Well, thank you very much, Madame Calvin. I just wanted to say thank you for the welcome that we had this morning with you. My delegation is very thrilled to visit the university and see what we can learn from you. And of course, you know, the African continent today has reached 1 billion inhabitants. So one of the major challenges that we will have to face in the near future is how to feed our population. So visiting the fishery, the sweet potato and biotechnological lab is for us very important. Once again, thank you. I think this is the peak of our visit, because yesterday it was business as usual, because of business, but now we're talking about studying and the future. Thank you very much.
La directrice du programme international des études, Dr Pamela Moore, a manifesté son désir de travailler avec les pays qui ont la même vision de développement économique, comme le Nigeria, le Sénégal et bien d'autres pays africains.
The primary focus of this visit is by request upon ongoing work in the agricultural and aquacultural sciences, and we have devoted most of our time this morning to that topic. I would simply like to alert you that we do have an interest in West Africa, and if you look in your booklet, this yellow sheet describes an ongoing project with the nations of Senegal and Nigeria, particularly the Niger Delta region in Nigeria. So our history, our culture, who we are has been defined by our connection to the Mississippi River, agriculture, and rural livelihoods, and we are seeking to build collaboration and partnerships with other countries and other institutions that have a similar interest in how do we grow our agriculture economy and improve livelihoods for persons in rural communities.
L'aquaculture étant au centre de cette conférence, Madame Angèle a mis en relief les progrès de développement et de recherche dans l'aquaculture. Avec plus de 600 000 pêcheurs et un rendement estimé à plus de 425 millions de dollars par an, l'État de Arkansas est le deuxième producteur de poissons aux États-Unis. Une activité prolifique qui génère aussi bien des fonds aux sociétés de transport.
So what I'd like to share with you in these few minutes here this morning is to share some of the most recent developments and some of the most recent advances that we've worked with the industry here in Arkansas on that stem from some of the challenges and problems that they've experienced. So I'm going to share some of this with you here this morning. A little little bit slower. I'll try to. I love talking about aquaculture and I get excited. So keep reminding me you're going to have to keep doing this because I love talking about this and I love talking about this program. Our mission specifically is to address the needs of our aquaculture industry in the state. But as you'll see too, Arkansas has just wonderful aquatic resources in terms of rivers and lakes and reservoirs that are used for recreational angling. We are blessed in Arkansas with world-class fisheries in the natural environment that our anglers enjoy in many, many ways. But the only way that we maintain the quality of fisheries, Arkansas is very special in aquaculture. We are the second largest aquaculture producing state in the United States. We have over 600,000 fishermen who are either here in Arkansas or travel here from Mississippi, Louisiana, and other states to enjoy the recreational fishing that we have in the state. When they come here, they spend money. And so the money that they spend contributes more than $400 million each year to the economy of the state of Arkansas.
Yes, again, my name is Obadiah Njue. I'm the chair.
Toute cette gamme de production est appuyée de recherche biotechnologique pour la prévention et le traitement des maladies pour une production saine et rentable.
You're interested in biotechnology. Some of you having questions about GMO.
Après la conférence, place à la visite sur le site. Une partie à l'aquaculture et l'autre partie de la délégation, avec à la tête le ministre Jean Louis Billon, part à l'agriculture.
No, let's get to Dr.
We actually started off as a vegetable shed and we turned it into a food processing laboratory. Dr. Koo is the person over that, and he probably going to, did you have any of the products out for to see?
Well, you don't have much product right now.
No? Okay.
Some.
Right. There's a, yeah.
I love visuals.
All right.
Just ignore that, but that's a nice visual.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jahan Koo. I'm in charge of operating this food processing laboratory. As Dr. Garner briefly mentioned, this lab is designed to do work on development of value-added products, utilizing all the crops here. As you see, we've been working on apple juice, apple wine, and utilizing cowpeas to make canned product and bread, sauce, tofu, and jelly. Using blackberries, muscadine, and hot peppers, and sweet potatoes, try to develop product so that we can show farmers and transfer our technology for them to adapt our technology to develop value-added products. So once you have a value-added products, farmers can make more profit out of it because row crops usually has a really limited shelf life, and if you process them a little bit, and it'll preserve and extend shelf life, and you can keep them pretty long. Yeah.
I'm going to cut you short because this is a quick tour.
Oh, okay.
When you talk too longer than that. Have they been here already?
No.
Okay, they'll be down here in a minute. But I just want to also say that a lot of the equipment that he used for it is in here. We don't have time to look at everything individually, but that's a canner over there and a retort and this filter system for. Yeah, they can walk in. Yeah, you can take a quick look.
Real cool. Okay. Come on in. Come on in.
Come on in.
Yeah. Come on in.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. So briefly, these are some of processing equipment we have. Over there, that's a steam jacketed kettle. It's a huge kettle, as you see. Yeah, it has a steam operating kettle, and that one is a vacuum can simmer. What it does is, when we fill the can comes like this, lid and and you fill them up with whatever peas or whatever green beans, and you put lid on and just run this machine to close. And this is after I fill the cans, I collect many cans and put them in a crate and put them here. This is it's called retort. Okay. So this is a high pressure cooker. So we have some equipment like this, and yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
All right.
I know you like he loves talking about his equipment and his products, but we got, if we're gonna make our last stop, we gotta go. Yeah. Oh, who wants the microphone now? Somebody.
Because I'm going to encourage you to apply for international USAID job. It's Dr. Moore.
Okay.
And they're subsidized. A lot of those initiatives. So I can share that with you, and then because if your government wants to subsidize and get farmers to start doing value added, because you know most of the raw material, most of the added is not there yet in terms of potential. Okay.
Thank you.
Donc c'est pour cela que je dois suivre.
This is the building, because a lot of the teaching labs for ag and aquaculture fisheries are located in this building. Most of the offices are located in the building next to us over there. And they just getting started. That's a real small laboratory, so we'll probably let them go in there first, and when they come out, we can go in. But actually, this whole side is all for biotechnology.
Oh, okay.
Are they coming out? No. This is some of the equipment in here. Just the low temperature freezers. And this stem tip, we just cut a little bit off and put it in plates. And once they start growing, and when he changed the medias and so forth and what's on it, he pulled them out, put them in here. These are sweet potato plants. These are the ones that he would test for whether they still have virus in it or not. If they have virus, you throw them away. If they don't, then we take them to the green. Well, we take them to the next lab, and we'll come back to where we started. The isoflavor gene in are either, I'm not sure which ones they are, whether the one with the isoflavor gene or whether it's the one where they did the silence and reduced the lignin content. I'm not sure. But, oh, there's some more in here in the growth chamber. Nothing in that one right now. Now, the plant that you see right here, whoa, oh, that's not, I'm getting ready to tell you something wrong. That's a morning glory. Are they about to come out of there? They're going to go over here afterwards? Okay, we want to come in after he come out.
Where's the bathrooms?
Oh, straight down here to the right.
Okay. Does anyone need to go to the bathroom? There's one down here.
Straight down here to the left, I'm sorry. Any questions yet while we waiting on them? Anything you want to? Okay. No, I'm trying to get, still, it's so crowded, you know, you wouldn't be able to see anything. I'm trying to let them come out before we go in. Yeah, he's in there. I tell you what, let's quickly look at this other lab. Some of our graduate students, research associates and stuff, office in there. Come through. I'm just waiting on you to come out of there. Okay, come through here. Quality, but biotechnology has been growing so fast, we had to start moving water quality research out of here and find a lab somewhere else so we can keep all the biotechnology work together. you can see you got more equipment here that we really haven't set up yet. So it's still growing. Okay, we can probably go right out this way. Yeah. Okay. We're not telling you about the meristem tip culture. Right here. That's the top of the plant. The growing, we just take this little part off right here, put it here. And then we get the plants growing here to here, then from here to here. Then we go into that back room where we got the lights, grow them up to this stage, and then move them to the greenhouse. Once we move them to the greenhouse, they grow up bushy plants, and that's what we take cuttings and go to the field in the spring. So we're getting ready to start that whole process over again now, and by the spring we'll have those greenhouses up there full of those plants to make cuttings to go to the field. But this is the whole process.
Dr. Garner, you do that because there's more...
Well, there's no vascular connection between the plant and the meristem tip, so viruses can't reach the tip.
Okay.
So that's why you take the tip off, because there's no viruses. Now, if you make the cut just a little too low, that's when you do get some virus. And that's why we have to test every plant to make sure that there's no viruses there. But,
so this is a matter of selecting a spot in the plant where the virus can't get and reproducing that part only.
Right.
Got it. Never understood that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I think they're coming out. Yeah, that's the rice. Well, that's the rice plants. I don't know much about rice. I go in here when you go out.
It will tiller according to the amount of space it has on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a varietal. Some varieties are better than others, but generally a single plant out by itself will tiller. When you're going in a field, you grow it at a population of where you maximize tillering versus having enough plants to make it produce maximum yield, and that varies from one variety to the next. But with any variety, if you plant a single plant right here, it will spread a lot more. So that's what you're looking at here. One seed, no competition, it just spreads out.
Okay, let's go in here now.
Okay.
My name is Satish Ponaya. I am working on developing sweet potato virus-free lines, and we are using these instruments. And this is for the tissue lyser. This is for DNA extraction. So you can do like 48 samples at a time.
Short version.
You can keep 48 tubes and then put the beads and then grind the tissue using you can use the grinding. So we can get the DNA 48 samples at a time from these samples. And these are the PCR instruments. These instruments are used to amplify the gene. Using this instrument is called PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Using the DNA enzymes, we can amplify the particular portion of a gene, and then we can see whether the gene is present in the plant or not. So for that we are using these instruments.
How do you take your...
It will amplify and then show me clearly whether the plants are infected with virus or not. So this is one we are using. Apart from that, we are also using the growth chamber to grow the plants. These are the rice plants we are growing right now. So these are the rice plants. We are trying to reduce the lignin content in rice, so the straw can be used for the biofuel. So directly can be fed to the biorefinery.
Thank you. I think they want to see this. I think they want to explain there.
I am from Nepal, and I am a graduate student here, and I am working on the silencing of some lignin biosynthetic genes. And what is the purpose of that? My project is, as we all know, the population of the world is growing higher and higher, and the source for the gasoline, and that is the limitation is there, and one day it may it may go. So objective of my research is to contribute to replace the use of gasoline by the biofuel, that bioethanol. I am working on the silencing of some lignin genes, which are the components of the cell wall in the plants, and I am going to silence the lignin and increase the level of some cellulose and hemicellulose, and which will contribute in the production of some ethanol, and that we can use for the as a gasoline in our car, in our vehicle, everything. And here I can show you the brief work, what I am doing. Here, this is the control environment. Here we are maintaining the control. Temperature is set here around 28 degrees centigrade. And here, this is, and this grass is the native to this Arkansas region of the United States here. And here, these are the plants which are supposed to be silenced the lignin content in the plants, and these plants from there I transfer to the tubes, and from here we are going to analyze these plants by the synthesis of some ethanol, and whether the ethanol production, this is silence plant, and from the control and silence plant we are going to analyze whether the silencing has some impact on the increasing in the production of ethanol or not in the plants.
For Cote d'Ivoire, like if they wanted to buy the technology or wanted to work with you to do something like that to help them.
And we could work with them easily. We just have to get an MOU and find out, see if we can get somebody to help. And I think they are doing some stuff with the isolate.
I get your card so that we can.
Oh yeah, we getting ready to go now.
No, we have to get on the big bus.
Yeah, we gotta go. Oh, okay.
What year was that?
76.
Did you anything else you?
76. I wish. Ath is my aunt. She's the other one. You know that? Sure. But I do have a language called Ath.
Now don't fall. We don't have enough insurance.
Okay, so the first ponds were built here in around 1970. Okay, they were 1/10 of an acre ponds built down here. We have recently changed all of those ponds. They used to be 1/10 of an acre. Now they're 1/4 acre, which is I think about 1/10 of a hectare. Okay, so these ponds are all used to raise. Let's step over here. Let's step over here and let them go by. Usually about a season and a half. And so they'll be a fingerling, and they'll get to probably 6 to 8 inches at the end of the first summer. They will get to about 1 pound to 1.25 pounds about halfway through the following summer. or anything, it's just a hybrid. Yeah, yeah. Okay, shall we? For 30 or 40 years, the catfish industry in Arkansas was just channel catfish. Channel catfish are what we call cavity spawners. So we would take, I want to see if we can find them. We'd take very large barrels and put them out in the broodstock ponds. And the male catfish would go in there, and then the female would go in there, and she'd lay eggs. The male catfish would chase her out, and then he'd stay, and he'd move his tail and move fresh water over the eggs. We go in and chase the male out and grab the batch of eggs, and we bring them into these troughs, okay? We put a screen here, and we put paddle wheels, very small paddle wheels that circulate the water here and aerate it. And so we hatch the fish out in here. Channel catfish will feed first on formulated feed. So we don't have to start with any live feed for them. They'll take a pelleted feed right away when they start feeding. So we get them on feed in these troughs. They're probably, you know, this big when we take them and put them back out in the ponds. We'll grow them during the first summer to about 6 to 8 inches. Okay, we throw formulated feed at them. When the weather gets cold like this, they stop feeding. They'll stop eating, so we stop wasting food. When the weather warms up in the spring, we'll start feeding again.
You mean from the whole winter? These fishes don't eat?
When the weather gets warm enough and the day is nice, farmers will go out and throw feed to their fish. Okay? They may eat 2 or 3 times a week. We have found, doing studies, that these fish will either stay constant in their weight or lose a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean they may lose 7 to 10% of their body weight over the winter. Okay? Then when the weather gets warm again and they start feeding again, we throw feed at them until they reach a market size, which usually takes another half to a full growing season. Questions? Okay, we're going to go that way and then put broodstock fish in here and feed them a different diet than they would if we were just producing them for the processing plant. For example, more lipid. Okay, more lipids means there's more lipid in the egg, which means you probably get better hatching and fertilization rates. So she does broodstock studies in some of these tanks. I don't see anything in them right now. Okay, but this is the kind of operation. This is not a typical farm. Okay, this is clearly an experimental procedure. We have the ability in this room to control the air temperature. And if you look when we walk out, you'll see heat pumps on the outside of this wall so that the water in those large broodstock tanks, we can maintain any temperature we want from probably 4 or 5 degrees centigrade up to about 35 degrees centigrade. Okay? Let's take a peek here. You'll see everything inside the hatchery and all of our ponds, when we drain them, all that water always goes into the swamp.
So you basically do recycle.
And this would be high school students, so 9, 10, 11, 12th grade, pre-college. The teachers want us to show them how to incorporate that.
Il y a l'élevage interne et puis l'élevage externe. Ça, c'est l'élevage interne. Interne, il te faut un peu tous ces équipements-là. Donc, ça va te devenir un peu plus cher. Alors que le outdoor, c'est les étangs que tu fais dehors. Comme ce qu'on voit dehors, ça, c'est les étangs.
Même quand c'est dehors, ça devient... C'est protégé. Les fiches vont partir.
Parce que moi, je fais ça aussi. C'est là que je suis intéressé.
Moi, je le fais, mais je suis un peu confus. Parce qu'après du moment là...
Lui, c'est ce qu'il fait. Donc ici, c'est pour ça qu'il était curieux de venir voir.
Le problème, c'est quoi? Même quand c'est une outdoor, là, par exemple, c'est
Advertise in the newspaper and let the public come to buy our fish. Okay? So we don't sell them to a processor. We're not competing with our farmers, but we do have fish sales that the public, the rest of the university, can come down and buy the fish. The pools underneath the bird netting that I told you about, and again, those can be filled with reservoir water or with well water. They're usually run static. So we fill them, turn the water off, put an air hose in, and do whatever study we're going to do.
Parce que pour faire circuler l'eau sur l'eau. Ça là, tout là. C'est leur. Ça c'est leur technologie.
Wow. Non, xamul foofu. Mais graaw yow kii ko rek yow takk foofu lay yow. Man dinaa woo graaw la moom.
But it's very hard. That's why those people want bird netting over there, because it's very hard.
You don't have like a technique,
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have pyrotechnics. We shoot off air cannons, or we shoot off fireworks, or we shoot guns. Some people in the United States use dogs that are trained to chase the birds around. Okay, we don't have the dog to chase the birds around. All right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. So this is the newest type of production system. This is what we call a split pond. And what you see is these two ponds, this one and the next one down, are joined together. We use part of the pond to produce fish. We use part of the pond to deal with fish waste. So this end of the pond would essentially be a bioreactor. We got to get rid of ammonia. We got to get rid of nitrites. That happens here. The fish are crowded up on the other side. The paddle wheel that you see over there rotates and gets a nice current going down here and then through the culverts into the other side and back again. On the other side, there are grates. There's essentially a metal mesh that would keep the catfish on the other side. Now, what are the advantages to this? Okay, we have found that it's easier to feed the fish if you crowd them up. I don't waste food throwing food into parts of the pond where there are no fish. Okay, if I get sick fish and I have to treat them, they're all crowded up. I don't have to treat the whole pond. I just have to treat the part of the pond where my fish are. If my dissolved oxygen gets low and I need to run an aerator, I don't aerate the whole pond. I just aerate the part where the fish are. When it comes time to harvest, I don't have to harvest the whole pond. I just harvest the part where the fish are. So there are a whole lot of advantages to keeping the fish in one end of the pond. This is an experimental pond and it's split 50-50. That is not the way most farmers in the state are splitting their ponds. They use 80% of the pond as a bioreactor and keep the fish in 20% of the pond. Okay, that's more typical,
so
is to keep the fish.
Overcrowded population?
Well, that's one of the reasons why people are using hybrid catfish in those crowded situations. And they're actually raising fish at 3 or 4 times the density they would normally raise them if they were letting the fish go in the whole pond. But somehow crowding them up and using the hybrid catfish tend to be more disease resistant when it's crowded. So they're a better product to grow in these ponds. I said most of the state and throughout the South, Alabama's doing this, Mississippi's doing this, Arkansas is doing this. You see 20% being for fish and 80% for getting rid of fish waste. So if you look down here at this pond, you can see where they're digging to make the next divide. And that part on the far end will be for the fish, and all of the rest of this will be to get rid of fish feces. Okay, so the uneaten feed and the feces, and that comes down here, and that is the basis for a plankton-based community. Okay? There are some people that are considering polyculture, where they'll keep the main crop of catfish down there, and they'll try and raise a second crop of fish in here. So if you think of fish that eat plankton, Asian carp, like bighead carp and silver carp, are examples of something you could raise here, okay, and get a second set of fish out. They would eat all the zooplankton and phytoplankton that grew from the fish waste, and they would clean that water up before it got pushed back into the part of the pond where the fish are. So this is one of the, now, this technology is not actually brand new. People at Clemson University in South Carolina started working with this 30 years ago. But it's been perfected. People keep coming up with better ways of doing this, and this split pond system became more important when the U.S. catfish industry had to start dealing with imports of Asian catfish. So Asian catfish, Tron, Basa, are very cheap, and the U.S. market had to find a way of becoming more efficient. This became a lot more popular, trying to create better efficiencies in the way we grow fish. If there's no competitors, you can grow fish in a pond just like you always did. Neighborhood of 4 to 8 feet, so you know, this deep, because some of these ponds we still have to be able to seine the fish out of the pond. So most of our seines are about 8 feet deep. So most of these things, average depth from the shallow end to the deep end, the average is about 4 feet.
Before putting the water in there, what type of product we put on there?
Okay, we will use, especially if we're raising bait minnows, we will use a combination of inorganic and organic fertilizer. Our organic fertilizers
I'm going to take you to one of the newer tractors here. Right. And this tractor will actually
40 foot wide. So when you make a complete circle, or when you make a round and go back and make a round, you then cover 80 feet with one goat.
Wink.
Yes.
Is anything planted out here?
No, it's all.
Can you make a run down to it?
Oh yeah, no problem.
You would, Wink.
So you're with the delegation just...
field, and I come out of the field there. Right.
30 minutes from here. And with the time, we wouldn't have had time. So our good friend, Lawrence Conyer, one of the newest members of the National Black Growers Council, that's in the works. And I've talked to some of you about that, but this is one of the newest members and a very good farmer here, so we want to thank Mr. Conyer for allowing us to host us here. What I thought we would do, you saw a lot this morning at UPB about some of the research and maybe demonstrations that they do. We also have farmers in the U.S., black farmers in the U.S., that are still growing row crops. I'm a part-time farmer myself. I farm about 700 acres, about 260 hectares. Mr. Conyer is about twice the size of me. He farms about 1,400 acres, about 560 hectares. Right. When you farm on that scale, the rules change a little bit. You'll have a chance to look at some of the equipment out here, look at some of the technology that allows one person to farm 500-600 acres. You'll see some of that. One thing I want to do, well, on my farm we grow corn, rice, soybeans, wheat, and grain sorghum. Mr. Conyer, what do you grow on your farm?
I grow rice, soybeans, corn, wheat, and also what we call milo.
So we go to
grain sorghum. This really is the proper name for it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Similar to millet.
Yeah. Yeah. So same crop mix. When you grow those crops, it's an economy of scale. You'll see a tractor out there that can cover easily 200 acres a day. Correct. But that tractor costs about $225,000 US. And so when you're paying that kind of money for a tractor, you need to have enough acres to keep it in the field. And so it's an economy of scale. But once you do that, you can capture efficiencies that allow you to grow and make, you know, a decent living at it. Produce more. Yeah. So one of the things, if you go and look at the National Black Growers Council, the mission of that organization is to improve the efficiency, productivity, and sustainability of black row crop farmers. Black farmers have a history here in the U.S. Our history in the U.S., we share history with you, because if you look like me or Wink, we had some common ancestry. All of our folks came from Africa. They came here primarily to grow cotton and rice and some of the crops that were more labor intensive. Right. But there was some of us that grew up in agriculture that somewhere along the way, Wink, we liked it. And we decided to pursue a career in it. So I probably told you I work for Monsanto, and I'm a part-time farmer. Wink just retired not too long ago from
Department of Defense.
And now he farms more full-time.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. But if you look at the numbers, and this goes back to the mission of the council, we consider ourselves an endangered species. Correct. Because black farmers in the U.S. Very few, and we have got to help each other out, help each other along, learn from each other, share with each other, in order for us to be around. The other thing that we're doing, the thing that actually excites us about being here, is the fact that we get to share some of the stuff that we know with our brothers across the pond, with Africa. So if we can learn from you, or can share information with you and help us reach a common goal, to me, to Wink, to other black farmers in this country, that's really a win-win-win, and we try and do that. So I'm going to stop. Wink, if you have anything you want to add, we'll do that.
Well, number one, first thing, welcome to Arkansas.
Thank you.
We have very few black farmers here in the state of Arkansas. The ones that are here, it's kind of hard, kind of tough for us to get loans, us to get money to farm. here in the United States. Therefore, we had to work harder than everybody else. You got to realize that our land is not brought up to par. Most of the land that we have is in pretty bad shape. So it makes a very big difference when you are a black farmer in the United States. Very few farmers have good property. Dwayne had worked on his, got his in pretty good shape. This land out here, I worked on it. I got it in pretty good shape. But if a person just getting in farming, or just now trying to farm, you're going to have problems. Right now, I got over $1 million worth of equipment, and that's a lot of money. I burn approximately about 7,000 gallons of fuel a year, and I'm a small farmer, so it's very expensive here in the United States.
Wait a minute, Wayne.
What?
You said you were a small farmer?
Right.
Now see, you are twice the size of me.
Oh, watch out, man.
And I told them I was a small farmer, and they laughed at me. So man, get ready. I just wanted to point that out.
I'm serious. I'm a small farmer. The way you're a small farmer. But anyway, my equipment is very, very expensive. And so I had to grow harder. I had to work real hard to get everything. The reason I farm because I love it. You know, you got to love it to do it. If you don't love it, you're not going to do it. Because it's a lot of work in it. And it's real expensive. So when you add everything up, it's just hard to get the kind of land, the kind of material and stuff to do. But one thing we do have here that really help us a lot is the USDA. We have a guy here named Lavelle Foote. He do a lot of work for us, a lot of help, and so that makes a lot of difference. For land leveling, irrigation, water, stuff like that, makes a big difference. So, you know, we have half of my land is non-irrigation. I wouldn't say half, I'd say less than half.
Well, now it is. What was it before you started making the improvements?
Oh, I didn't have very little irrigation. And so here in the United States, and this part of Arkansas, you got to have irrigation to grow this crop. Because if you don't have that, you're in trouble. So we can go out, take a look at some of my equipment, my newest equipment. I got to apologize. A lot of my equipment is in the field because I was harvesting some of my late soybeans. And that's what I grow. I grow soybean, rice, wheat, corn, and milo, what you guys call millet.
Similar to millet.
Similar to millet, yeah. And that's about it for me, what I grow.
Let me add two things.
Mm-hmm.
They're considered small farmers. I'm going into farming myself, but vegetable farming. So these are my two consultants. He's going to give me some of the equipment that you guys see out here. But I'm doing vegetable farming, just 10 acres, which is only comes from the university.
Correct.
Who works very closely at their extension program in terms of some of the benefits of the United States Department of Agriculture programs.
Yeah.
So the universities bring that information to the farmers so that they can apply for those various initiatives that the U.S. government is providing.
Correct.
The other thing that and I know this because I've been a part of it through the council, we've been able to explain to USDA some of the things that Wink talked about. If your father and grandfather before you couldn't put in irrigation, which a lot of our people couldn't, what position does that leave you in right now? And we've been able to explain that and put some provisions in place that allow us to do that, to kind of catch up to where your neighbors are. Right here where you are, 90% of the crops in this county are irrigated. Mm-hmm. And you heard Wink say that when he first started, he was probably only about 10, maybe 15% irrigated.
15%.
So he's got a long way to go to get up to the 90%, but it can happen, and we've been working trying to
Thank you very much, sir. I've been living here for 22 years, and this is the first time I'm meeting somebody like you. Why did you choose to be involved in farming business? And the third one is, I'd like to know if you receive any subsidies from the government or a loan from the bank.
Okay.
Thank you.
From LaBelle and the Department of FSA. So therefore, we get myself. A lot of easy for you to get your funding, and a lot better than what it was, I would say 10, 12 years ago. The other question, go ahead.
But that's when you talk about subsidies, I want you to understand that's a moving target, because every 5 or 6 years, those programs change with the Farm Bill.
Right.
So for instance, after the 2002 Farm Bill, we were able to show that because of the fact that your father or grandfather didn't have access to certain things, and your subsidies were based on proven history of a given acre, that as a farmer coming in, your subsidies were lower. And we've been working with USDA trying to figure out how can we fix that, okay? But it's a moving target, because now, instead of subsidies based on historical production, a farmer's safety net now is in your NRCS program that you just talked about. Right. They're in your crop insurance programs, and to some extent, some of that proven history. But it's changing, and that's not necessarily to put you at a disadvantage. But if you fail to go to the meeting that you talk about and understand how those changes are happening, you can get further behind. And trust me, it's very frustrating to get further behind. What we try to do is make sure that we're on the cutting edge. Because it's one thing to have to implement something, Minister, after the decision has been made. It's quite different to be at the table modifying the decision before it's handed down. And that's the position we really want to be in. Yeah.
And I traveled the world all over because I was in the biological chemical, and I got a chance to go all over. And when I retired, before I retired, I was fooling around with the farm. Then it got more and more and more and more and more. And next thing you know, I'm 1,400 to 1,500 acres of land, cropland. You make a complete circle, or when you make a round and go back and make a round, you then cover 80 feet with one goat. Yes.
So as you can. Abby?
And allowed us to modernize our agriculture and see all those equipment can inspire.
Wow! Wow, this is beautiful. Wow, beautiful. My dear, how you think about today? Qu'est-ce que tu penses à le garder à la machine là?
C'est trop truc quoi, c'est trop bien.
C'est trop bien?
Oui, c'est bien. Et puis ça va permettre, si on a ça en Afrique, quoi, ça va nous permettre de gagner en temps. C'est bien et puis bon, c'est rapide et pratique en même temps.
Et puis ça coûte beaucoup, hein?
Ouais.
C'est plus de 200 000 quelque chose.
Dollars. Ah, c'est trop cher.
C'est trop cher.
Mais c'est que si, mais c'est la rentabilité là. C'est que ça doit être très bien.
On doit penser aussi à le prix parce que c'est. Si on n'a pas l'argent, comment on va acheter les machines?
C'est vrai. Bah,
comment on va acheter ces machines-là?
Bon, c'est un peu ça aussi, le problème de pécune, tout ça en Afrique. Si on n'a pas d'argent, c'est un peu dur pour acheter ça.
Alors, quel message que tu peux donner aux gens qui ont l'argent en fait? Mais il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont l'argent qui n'ont pas des idées.
C'est vrai,
je cherche toujours les idées.
C'est vrai, surtout en Afrique quand même. Non, mais moi, l'idée que je peux donner aux gens, c'est que si vous avez de l'argent, logique pour pouvoir développer ou infrastructuriser aussi notre agriculture. C'est ce que je peux dire.
Alors, quel message que tu peux donner à la ministre de l'Agriculture qui a l'agriculture dans son charge? Ministre à Côte d'Ivoire. à propos de ces machines-là? Je vais dire que c'est mieux qu'il achète ces machines pour donner aux Ivoiriens.
Ah ben lui, il ne pourra pas acheter cette machine-là pour nous donner. C'est un peu qu'on va arriver à ça. Puisqu'on doit s'offrir ça.
Excellent.
Oui.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci bien.
Je vais te saluer. Des caterpillars, des corps.
I make about 50,000.
Okay.
In US dollars.
Okay.
50,000, right.
So, quite a lot.
Right. In the field.
Oh,
My big equipment, my combine,
yeah, you told us
all this stuff like that is in the field now. So
thank you very much
therefore,
for having us.
Right. I just came to help Dr. Dwayne out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
You did a good job. So how you feel about having people from Ivory Coast, from African continent to come
good.
to visit
I feel good
your
about that. I feel good about that.
Because it's your roots. Eh?
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You have a good one.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time, and good luck with it. Hopefully,
yes.
you know, you make a lot of money.
Bye.